Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the Africa Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. On this channel and on this program, we give you that information you need to keep your life safe and secured wherever you're watching us from. It's a pleasure to have you on the program today. My name still remains Patrick Abambu. You'll recall that over the week, during the week, a lot of things had happened that positively in area of security, and we would like to commend all security forces for the work they are doing. But you know, again, just 2 days from now, the late Queen Elizabeth II will be buried in England, and it's sad because this is a woman who had worked to ensure that the former countries that were under the British governance got independent, and finally she had gone to rest, and her son has taken over as King Charles III. We from Security Watch Africa commiserate with the great people of Commonwealth and the United Kingdom for that great loss, and commend them for the smooth transition that is being carried out. Yes, like I said, there has been great news all through the week. The one that quite made some of us that are knowledgeable with the issue of the insecurity threat, particularly in the Northeast, glad, is the surrender on the 12th of this month of a man that has been one of the lead executioner. In fact, he is known as the chief executioner. He had carried out so many atrocious acts against the people of Nigeria, the armed forces, the security forces, and all that. Talking about Bashir Bulabundu, finally he surrendered to the troops of the Nigerian army with his family, his wife and children, taking the path of peace. A lot of people had asked questions: what is going to happen to him? Will he be forgiven, or what will happen? That I must tell you that the government and the security forces are working towards ensuring that he's given the justice as we go along. Yes, again, like I tell you, today we'll be looking at a topic which we'll title Towards Peace and Unity in Nigeria. For a long time, this has eluded Nigeria, but some concerned Nigerians are coming together to look at how best can we follow that path of peace and unity, because that is the only way we can forge ahead, we can see development. We'll be discussing with a guest who is knowledgeable on this issue, who has been in the security services, and today he's been busy going around across Nigeria to ensure that proper peace is entrenched in the country. I will unfold it when it's time, but sit back as we give you this because time has come for that time again in the year when we'll bring you the Africa Security Watch Awards Conference and Exhibition. Sit back as we bring you one of our speakers. In fact, he's representing one of the lead papers at the conference in Dubai.
Once you talk about security, you know you get me immediately. Once you talk about peace, you know you find me immediately. I really want to thank you people, and be rest assured that my lecture notes will be ready. It's something I'd like to attend because it should be encouraging. Peace shouldn't elude Africa, because once we don't have peace, then what else do we stand for? Once anything happens in the whole world, we're always the whipping boys. So we should do everything possible in Africa to have peace and to live with one another in peace.
Welcome back. We had him there. Once it's peace, once it's security, he will make sure he's there. He will be joining us in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, to look at issues of governance, peace and security, which is paramount for development. You agree with me that in the southeast and south region, Akwa Ibom State has remained one of the most secure states because governance is providing that which will make the security forces do their work, not about chasing criminals, but even before the crimes are committed. So he'll be joining us there talking about His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel. He's one of the speakers, and he'll also be receiving an award for encouraging technology in the fight against insecurity. Yes, again, we'll tell you that during the week, the Nigerian Army held the third quarter COAS conference in Abuja, and Security Watch Africa, Shuli Daniels, was there from the beginning to the end. Sit back as we bring you this report.
The Nigerian Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has enjoined his field commanders to ensure that the Nigerian Army personnel under their command embrace the reviewed Code of Conduct for the Nigerian Army participation in the coming 2023 general elections. He charged them to ensure that officers and soldiers under them adhere strictly to the rules of engagement of Operation Safe Conduct. General Yahaya gave this charge in his closing remarks at the end of the week-long Chief of Army Staff Third Quarter Conference. The Army helmsman also commented on his order directives of strict supervisions of troops and the use of firearms.
I implore you all to lay emphasis on activities that will enable the Nigerian Army to consolidate on the gains so far achieved. I want to enjoin all formation and unit commanders on the need to be vigilant, aware of all situations through constant monitoring and ensuring proactive solutions to situations. Commanders are equally reminded on the need to employ stringent measures to maintain efficient security of arms and ammunition. Additionally, the directive on the reviewed Nigerian Army Rules of Engagement and Code of Conduct for Operation Safe Conduct in respect of our general elections should be adhered to strictly by all during the electioneering period. Thus, commanders must ensure that subordinates are educated on the guidelines provided in the document. Commanders must also ensure the professional conduct of troops and resist any distraction and attempt by misguided element to disrepute the image of the Nigerian Army. All must remain professional and apolitical in the conduct all through Operation Safe Conduct.
The Chief of Army Staff used the occasion to send a stern warning to all troublemakers to desist henceforth, as the Army will use all legitimate measures to deal with them.
Let me see this opportunity to advise those fueling crisis in various parts of the country to desist from their unpatriotic acts. I strongly advise them to retrace their steps as the Nigerian Army, within the ambit of the rule of law, will continue to ensure that all peace-loving citizens of this great country go about their legitimate businesses and live their lives without fear or intimidation.
It will be recalled that, while declaring open the conference, the Chief of Army Staff commended his officers involved in various theaters of operations for making sure that war against criminals is being won.
Our connected actions in the Northeast Theater of Operation have continued to dismantle the cohesion of the insurgents, resulting in massive surrenders of the terrorists. This has positively impacted on the morale of the troops and greatly bolstered the confidence of the citizens. Efforts must therefore be geared toward leveraging on the gains so far recorded to stamp out the miscreants permanently. The recent successful hosting of Nigerian Army Day celebration in the Southeast, in Owerri precisely, has impacted positively on the security situation in the region, even as the troops continue to take decisive actions against the secessionists. The Nigerian Army will continue to perform its roles professionally in the region in collaboration with other services and security agencies, as well as state and local government authorities. Equally, the troops deployed in the South-South region under Operation Delta Safe have continued to perform creditably with the regimented joint operations, leading to the arrests of several suspects and their sponsors. concerted effort is ongoing to ensure maximum revenue is derived by the country from its oil ventures in the South-South region. The Nigerian Army has also continued to contribute positively for the maintenance of security in the Southwest region, which generally remains calm. Our security arrangements in the region have been reinforced in collaboration with other security agencies, particularly in the wake of the unfortunate incursions by the terrorists to the region. More successes are envisaged in the region in the days ahead as concerted efforts are being taken to track and apprehend criminals as well as their sponsors. Our offensive operations in the Northwest and North Central regions have also been intensified. Accordingly, troops in conjunction with the Nigerian Air Force have continued to neutralize bandits and destroy their hideouts under the recently launched onslaught called Operation Desert Sanity. As troops continue to sustain the offensive on the bandits and the terrorists, efforts are ongoing to enhance our training activities and inject more manpower as well as game-changing equipment into all theaters of operation.
At the close of the conference on Friday, it appears very obvious that the Nigerian Army under Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya has re-engineered their fighting strategies to ensure that the Army discharge its onerous task of keeping Nigeria safe. Shirley Daniels, reporting for Security Watch Africa.
I want to commend you for the excellent work you are doing, Security Watch Africa. You have kept your mission in focus, and you have kept your objectives in focus. You've been quite dispassionate and also objective, non-partisan, and this is how journalism should be, and I commend you for that. It's an honor, feel honored, and I want to assure you that by God's grace will be there live to receive the awards. I want to say that I shall be there also to deliver the lecture.
Thank you.
I will start working on it.
Welcome back. Yes, you had the report from the Army headquarters talking about the third Chief of Army Staff third quarter conference held in Abuja. Yes, already with me in the studio to look at towards peace and unity in Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians who are concerned are looking at how can we have peace and unity in this country. One of the such organization of talented intellectual-based personalities is the alumni of the National Institute, which we have in a conference beginning from Tuesday. And but anyway, I'm not the one to say it. I have with me my brother, part of Security Watch Africa. So many ways to describe him, but I'll just briefly. He is actually the former Director of Army Public Relations and the Chief Executive of Media Communications. I don't know if I got it right. Then also, he is the National Publicity Secretary of the Alumni Association of the National Institute. Talking about Brigadier General Sani Usman, retired but not tired. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Patrick, for having me on the program.
Yes. Before we talk about this issue of peace and unity in Nigeria, which a lot of people say it has eluded the country for a very long time, you saw in the news during the week the surrender. In fact, these people who have terrorized Nigerians for years, a decade, if not more than that, the Boko Haram and their brothers in ISWAP are beginning to surrender. You were in the forefront there in the battlefront in the northeast during the heat of Boko Haram crisis in this country. Now, with them surrendering and their chief executioner surrendering, how do you feel?
Well, naturally, everybody will welcome such good news, and I felt highly elated simply because, you know, the concerted efforts of the federal government of Nigeria, in particular the security forces, is yielding the right dividends. And what we are seeing is culmination of so many underground works, you know, and which is climaxed by the continuous onslaught on the criminal elements by the military. And honestly, it is a welcome development. But what is most important now, I think as of this moment, we have over 70-something thousand of them, you know, that have surrendered. But the most important thing is, what are we doing about such people? There are issues of justice. There are issues of rehabilitation, reintegration, and demobilization of these people. To what extent are we doing that? And I must commend the efforts of Borno State government and, of course, the Theater Command Operation Hadinkai for, you know, holding on to this on behalf of the Nigerian society. But I think the country need to have a holistic approach towards this issue, because the matter at hand is something that is unprecedented. It has never happened anywhere in the world. You have such massive number of terrorists surrendering on their own volition. So what do you do to cater and make sure that they have not lapsed back? Even though I was quite aware of the fact that there are some mischievous elements that are not really happy about that. And as such, so the government has to come, particularly the federal government, to come into it and make sure that justice is done. Not justice to the victims of this insurgency and terrorism, but also to the perpetrators of the crimes as it is. So that is the most important thing. But naturally, everybody is quite happy, and I believe all well-meaning Nigerians welcome that, and I hope much more is coming.
You know, talking about peace, and some have said that for a lasting peace to come in that area, for instance, this Bashir that just surrendered was the chief executioner, and he executed so many military personnel and even civilians. Some say, will he be allowed to just go like that?
Well, people hardly understand the devastating impact of this Boko Haram terrorism on the Nigerian society, in the sense that it is ideological. There are so many. Yes, he was outstanding being the chief executioner, but there are others who perpetrated crimes. It may interest you to know that there were some of them that they, with their own hands, they went and slaughtered their biological parents. So that is the highest form of inhumanity or madness you can ever think. And for him to have been the chief executioner, many of them have perpetrated so many other crimes. Is it murder, rape, you know, armed robbery, and what have you. So he himself and so many others that have committed such, that is why it is very important that the federal government should constitute a committee or high-level committee to, beyond what the military and the Borno State government is doing, to thoroughly investigate and categorize these people, to ensure those that are not found culpable, to see how do we, you know, rehabilitate them. But those that have been, you know, found guilty, definitely the law has to take its course, because there must be justice. And of course, we will not like a situation whereby we have another set of Boko Haram in 5, 10, 20 years, years to come. So we must have to put things in place. And putting things in place is beyond the state government and the military. Therefore, the federal government has to come using the international best practice. And I could remember well back, the Theater Commander Operation Hadinka was even talking about the Maiduguri initiative, the kind of hybrid justice system, borrowing the international best practices and experiences of other countries. Take, for instance, what happened in Rwanda, what happened in Liberia, what happened in Sierra Leone, and how do we deal with this peculiar Nigerian situation, you know, to ensure that justice is done, and to ensure that we will not have a relapse of this security challenges.
Okay. And by the way, you were in Liberia, you were in Sierra Leone
Who
yourself.
are here together with you, so you know.
Yes. Okay. I would love us to leave this issue and go to the issue of the conference that's coming up. But on the final note, some Nigerians have doubted this surrendering. Is it real or is it dramatized? Some have said, are you sure this man not just coming to spy and go back and come back and create more problem? But some have argued again, since they are coming with their own family members, they wouldn't want them to also be killed. I don't know, from your own perspective or from what you're getting, what do you think is the true situation?
Well, the long and short of it is that it's real. And I made mention that it is the climax of concerted efforts. The effort did not start from today. You remember way back since 2009 up to date, the military has been involved, in decimating this, terrorists. And beyond that, there are other non-kinetic activities that have been involved. The information strategy and what have you. Drawing pliers and of course psychological operations. And you remember what even prevented this earlier than now was the fact that there were some people that were really, undermining the fight against terrorism and insurgency because they were leveling all sort of allegations against the security forces and all the rest. But as time goes on, with more enlightenment, and of course the terrorists understood the fact that even if you surrender, unlike the propaganda that was going on, there is no extrajudicial killing, you face the full wrath of the laws and all the rest of them. Because remember, some of them have been, surrendering long time ago, and some of them have even been handed over to their communities depending on their level of involvement in the insurgency, because you have to look at their recruitment system over time, because anytime they attack a town or a village, they capture the able-bodied men and women, and some of them were conscripted and all the rest. Some of them have not, despite all the pressure and threats, they have not been, fully involved in the insurgency as the states. But there are some of them actually voluntarily. You remember the instances where parents even donated their children, to be suicide bombers and what have you. So these are the issues. Then the other part is that people have started to cooperate fully. And of course they realize the military is being professional, they are so determined, so they assist with more information, they support, they cooperate. And of course, I always mention the issue of, good governance. I am not trying to praise Borno State, but at least the state governors stood out in terms of accountability and probity and good governance. So the people are seeing that really the government is working for them. So there is that trust, there is that respect. So a lot of, of them are hearing what is going on, and they decided it is better to be here. But most importantly, the renewed effort, this renewed synergy among the security forces, particularly the air and the land forces. And of course, the Navy is doing marvelous jobs somewhere around Lake Chad. So it is a concerted effort. There is no longer hiding place. And of course, the internal wrangling between the two factions that dominate that area, the ISWAP and the men, Jamaat Ahl Sunnah leader, what is otherwise known as the Shekau faction. So the heat and the news is gradually closing. So they have seen that there is no better way than to surrender. And of course, the fact that even if you surrender, there is no extrajudicial killing and all the rest, and they are being catered for. But for how long will that hold? That is another question. And that is why I would like to reiterate the fact that the federal government has to come so that we can ensure that this issue is solved, so that there will be justice, and those that are found culpable, they should face the full wrath of the law, and those that are not, see how best can you rehabilitate and integrate them into the society.
Okay. Now quickly, because I don't know, they're giving me signal. I don't know. Time running, but let's come to the cross now. Peace and unity in Nigeria. I know that beginning from Tuesday, precisely, like the governor of Borno State, Zulum, will be here in Abuja. What is happening? Tell us.
Well, actually, the Alumni Association of the National Institute, which comprise of all those that have been to a National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, courageous as members of senior executive corps since 1979, when it was established to date. They were concerned, being, concerned stakeholders in the affairs of the nation and being the foremost think tank for national policies and development programs in this country, were concerned about noticeable divisive, or rather apparent divisive tendencies among the components of Nigerian society. And what caused that, it seems as if we have not been talking to ourselves. So we decided that we should have a national conference, that specifically will talk about Nigerian, national unity, especially as built up the 2023 general elections. And now it will take place on Tuesday here in Abuja at Sheikh Musa Eradua Center, at the central area of Abuja. And the Vice President, His Excellency Professor Yomi Osinbajo, SAN, GCON, will be the, will be the special guest that will declare it open. And the keynote speaker is a foremost nationalist and the former Chief of Defense Staff and former Special Assistant Advisor to the Secretary General of the United Nations on Peacekeeping, General Martin Luther Agwai. And there are so many other prominent Nigerians. He will be the keynote speaker that will also speak. And various components of Nigerian society and discussants, and they will dissect all the problems that bedevil, our national unity, and come out with recommendation and workable implementation strategies.
As a next week's episode of this program, we're going to talk more about this, because we would like to have you and maybe one other member to review what's happened and the outcome. But let's take a break as we try to round up this program.
This is the first award that we as a service have accepted since I came on board. And the reason is simple. Despite several nominations by various organizations, we have continued to focus on meeting our constitutional role rather than be derailed by praises and adulation. However, we decided to accept this award because we believe that Security Watch is reputable, credible, and engages in unbiased reporting of security-related issues and strives to bridge the security information gap in Nigeria, West Africa, and the world at large.
Welcome back. Really, time is essence when we are on this program. I would have loved you to say something about, like I said, please give us, we want you to be here next Saturday to talk.
Definitely, I will be, and we are also inviting Security Watch Africa to the
All right, we'll be there to cover it and bring it to our viewers what happened. Sadly, we must leave because other program must continue. But I must say happy birthday to one of our producers here, talking about Gowan Elams. He's been working, one of the people behind the scene, making sure that the program comes smoothly. Happy birthday to you on behalf of all of us in the studio and outside here. It's our pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you so much.
We'll have discussed more, but next week we'll continue. We must say bye for now. It's been wonderful presenting this program. Join us again next week and follow us on our social media platforms so that you can get more information and send us whatever questions or comments you have to, so that we can get back to you. Until next week, bye for now.